Okay, I'm live again. And we are going to restart this session because this thing getting disconnected in between is like kind of too much. Too much to handle. My thought process is getting broken up in the process. I'll wait for people to join again, please. Hello, welcome back, everybody. I'm sorry there is this technical error. So we'll restart the session once. We were talking about Bindas Bowl. Hi, Amrita. I'm going to take you on camera after some time once we finish talking about what is effective communication. So I'm definitely not going to give lectures about the types of communications, etc., etc. I am not going to give the corporate training of how to talk about written communication or talk about non-verbal, verbal communications. This session is definitely not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about emotions behind our communications. So, as in the last video, I gave an example. If you go out with your friend for a movie and she gets late, he or she gets late, what do? We start blaming the friend. Now, when we start blame the friend without thinking that I had an e-ticket, she has an e-ticket, or he has an e-ticket, I can go in and watch my film while she or he can come later and join me. So there was no need to get emotionally all entangled. But when we get emotionally all entangled, our communication goes in three ways. One is verbally aggressive. When we get aggressive and we start hitting the other person wrong. When it becomes a person-centric communication rather than staying issue-centric. All right. Second is we get passive-aggressive. While we might not really be aggressive and we won't use cuss words, but we will use sarcastic tone. We will be extremely sarcastic and probably kill the person with our sarcasm. And third is absolutely passive. ठीक है, okay, I'll talk, I'll become a bad person, so let it be late, it's okay. But deep inside, we are fuming. Deep inside, we are angry because I have lost 15 minutes of my film that I wanted to watch. And this person knew that I hate missing my first 15 minutes. So now this thing will keep coming in different forms, in different communications at different times. That, see, remember that day because of you, I missed a film. Are we being fair with the person when we are not talking our heart out? And what stops us from talking our hearts out? Our own fear of being misjudged. And when we don't talk, if I am hurt about something, I'll give you a small example. We have a huge group of friends. Okay, we are around 8-9 families. We in the same, in my close friend circle that I call them extended family. So one of my friends felt that she is being avoided by most of us. Common. It happens in most of the groups. Jealousy is bound to happen when there are many people there. So one of my friends got that little thing from somewhere that she's being avoided. She stopped talking to all of us. And we thought probably she's not well. And when we used to ask her husband, where is she? Oh, she's not well. She's not there. She's there. So we took it for granted for a month. We did not come to know that she's actually angry with us. After a month, something happened that triggered. That made us realize that, okay, there's something that is brewing in her head. So we started calling her up. Are you okay? What happened? We thought you just wanted space, so we were not actually disturbing you too much. And we were all, it happens. Sometimes it happens. You're so caught up with life that things miss. Intention is not to miss those things. So when we spoke with her, we realized that she started feeling like this. Only when she communicated to us could we communicate back to her saying there is no such thing. We got a chance to explain ourselves. So had she not given us a chance to explain ourselves, this relationship would have gone down the drains forever. Did we as friends deserve that? Did she as a friend deserve that? I don't know what she must have gone through for that 1 month. It is not right being there for her own self because she killed herself somewhere thinking none of us love her. The fact was that it was absolutely opposite. She is everybody's favorite by the end of the day. And we love her. We love her, but sometimes this happens. Misunderstandings happen. Whose fault is a misunderstanding? Till the time you will not talk, till the time you will not speak up, how will the other person know what you are feeling? And then we have this huge expectation of people to understand without you talking. Even God doesn't understand without you talking. Nobody can understand without you talking, because everybody's thought process is very different. Probably what will hurt you might never hurt me, or what will hurt me will never hurt you. How do I know you? Give me a chance to explain you that. I have the right to know what you're thinking. As a friend, as a family member, as a partner, as a mother, as whatever relationship, as a boss, as a subordinate, as a colleague, I have a right to know what you're thinking about me so that I can rectify it. I will not know what you're thinking. How will I then continue? I will not know I'm a threat to you in any which ways. I communicate to make sure that people know that I am not a threat to you. I am able to talk straight on people's face while not being a threat to them, because my communication is a cry for help, a cry to understand, a cry to forgive, a cry to ask for forgiveness. It is just a tool for me to pass on the message about my inner health, about my mental health, about my peace of mind, about my relationships, my care, my love for you and for me. There are two people in a communication. One is you, one is me. While I am talking about you, about me, I also need to listen to you. When I listen to you to understand, use my prefrontal cortex to evaluate without any tags, without any preconceived notions, just to listen to you to understand why a person did something. Because if I'm calling you my friend, if I'm calling you my family, you definitely have some good qualities in you, and I love you to death. I love you. So when I love you, there's a reason I love you, right? So I cannot keep calling you bad names in my head with the choice that I have made. I have a choice to choose you in my life. So when I've chosen you in my life, it is my responsibility to understand you. There is a good reason why I've chosen you. So when I listen to understand you, automatically my listening, my communication turns from person-centric to issue-centric. Somebody did something today. Small things like throwing the towel on the bed. Men do that, right? Throwing towels on the bed, throwing shoes on the ground, everywhere, all over, littering all over. We hate it as women. But is he a bad person? We might just scream sometimes. I snap at times at my son also. What is this? This is not right. But then, do I hate him? I can't hate him, no. So will my communication to him be hateful? Disturbing? No. Then why are we like that in our other relationships? When did my husband, my colleague, my boss become a threat to me that I start protecting my projections? There is a projection we all need. Remember this. From the beginning, we have been told good human beings are this, good human beings are supposed to be like this, good human beings never get angry, good human beings cannot have fear. I am sorry, we have all these emotions within us. And we will always have all these emotions within us. That does not make us good or bad. If I am getting angry or I have fear, these are natural instincts to overcome threats. I get angry, that tells me what are my boundaries. I cannot handle a few things. Why I can't handle a few things? Every time you get that intense emotion, please sit down with yourself, because your emotion is not talking about the other person. Your emotion is talking to you about you. I am angry. Why? Because this has happened and I can't handle this because of whatever reason. What is that reason? Why a normal thing is becoming a threat in my life? How a towel thrown on the bed is becoming a threat into my life? How one chapati not being appreciated is becoming a threat in my life? How my friend being late for a film is becoming a threat in my life, that I'm so angry with the people I love the most? So angry that I can kick them at that point. How do we overcome our own anger? And if the person is real threat, now please listen to this. There are two types of people in your life. Toxic threats, which you really need to kick out of your life no matter what. And threats that we have perceived. Perceived threats we can still handle, where we try to communicate, we try to do everything possible under the sun to save a relationship. But when it starts affecting us and our mental peace, we take a call. It's as simple as that. It can be painful for a short while. We take a call. Coming to communication again. Effective, bindas, bol. What stops us? This projection stops us. Where we've been taught, good women don't talk much, you don't laugh much, you don't show your anger, angry people are bad people, fear is your worst enemy. As I said, anger and fear are your best friends if you know how to use it. So every time you're getting angry, every time you face fear, just sit down with yourself, take a break. You don't have to communicate right there and then. Take a break. Go inside for 5 minutes. Think it out. Think it out loud. Firstly, ask yourself, is it a real threat? See, I'm again going to repeat this. Every time an incident happens, your brain is made for jungles, not for this concrete jungles. What was the threat in jungles? Only about life and death. To be not eaten by predators. Does that happen in these concrete jungles? No, but your brain perceives every threat as a matter of life and death. Please keep this in your head. Your brain conceives everything happening around you as a matter of life and death. And the brain's job is to protect you. So when they're trying to protect you, your brain, when it's trying to protect you, it starts making a victim out of you. So you have to break that cycle and tell your brain, it is not a lion sitting in front of me who's going to eat me up. Nobody is going to eat you up. Nobody is going to throw you out. It is not a matter of life or death for anything or anywhere that you are. Think of the worst case scenario if you open up and talk. Worst case scenario. What will happen? You lose a relationship. If your relationship is so weak that it gets lost because of one line, one word, one statement, you might as well not have such relationships. I might as well not have such people around me who cannot take one statement from me. I'm okay with the few friends that I have who understand me, who are there with me, who really love me. So, firstly, when you just take that threat off your head, first point, what is the threat? My fear. I am scared that if I will say this is the worst case scenario that will happen. Why will it happen? Am I becoming a threat in the other person's life? Second point. What is a threat in my eyes? Second point. Am I becoming a threat in the other person's eyes? What is the issue? The person or the issue? The issue is roti. The issue is little issues only. But they become huge in our heads. They become huge in our heads. So what is the issue? How do I communicate this without hurting? Now my communication, is it to hurt the other person? What is my intention to communicate? To hurt the other person or solve the issue? 99.9% times our communication is to solve the issue, but unknowingly we land up hurting our loved ones. And we don't even realize, we are so away from that awareness factor, we don't even realize how we have become threats in other person's lives. And then there is this tug of war to prove myself, to prove my point. See, I am so right, you're misunderstanding me. They have the right to misunderstand me. Because I am not communicating the right thing. I am attacking. So if I will attack, they will defend. As simple as that. So now if I create a sentence, firstly it has to be I-centric. What happened? Why am I feeling the way I am feeling? Please help me understand. I made chapati for you today. I thought you were going to be appreciative, but seems like you are in a bad mood. And what you said did leave a mark in me. So please be a little more polite because I'm trying to learn. Help me learn. Which human being on this earth will not be okay with this? Rather, what do we land up saying? Oh, I did all this and you're such a mean idiot. You can do this to me. You have no sense. It's only your office, only your friends. You have no respect for your wife. I am the whatever. I am the glorified maid of the house and blah, 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 blah. We keep going on and on and on. What is the message we are giving the other person when we go on and on and on? And I'm not appreciated and you're a bad husband. Is he a bad husband? Is your friend a bad friend? So when we give that kind of communication, when we are communicating that you're a bad person, how are we expecting a good response? Of course, they will get defensive and give us a bad response. So what is our thought? When something happens, the minute the thought is, oh, I did so much and the other person is this, if your thought is to change the other person, you are heading towards disaster. If your thought is, okay, there is a misunderstanding, let's talk and sort this out, you are still heading towards a better communication. If your thought is, all right, this person is a very good person, I don't know what happened to him today, let's understand what happened. Your communication will go in an extremely different way. So every time something happens, please listen to your thoughts. When you listen to your thoughts, you have the power to change your own thoughts. The power lies within you to change your thoughts. The minute you get a thought, oh, my husband doesn't like me, he doesn't appreciate anything that I do, stop and ask yourself, is it true? Is it true? My husband doesn't love me, is it true? My friend always does this, is it true? And if it is true, how is it affecting you? And what are your expectations? How much have you told the other person about your expectations? How much do we tell the other person? We keep quiet with the fear of being misunderstood because we don't know how to present our thoughts. So firstly, listen to your thoughts. Start questioning your thoughts. There's this voice in you 24/7, no matter what you're doing. That voice is talking to you. That is the real you. Vis-a-vis what you're projecting is the fake you that has been created to make you look good. And you think you're looking good. You think you're looking good. No matter what I talk to you, you can see through what is happening inside me. So there is a clash when I'm watching you talk. I know you're angry within and you're not showing me. It creates more irritation because I start feeling that, okay, you don't even trust me this much. You think I'm so idiotic that I will not understand what you're going through. So till the time you will not talk verbally, with words, not with your body language. Your body language gives in because your body will be with your inner soul. Remember this. Your body gives up. Your body gives out signals. But your words are being different. So you're taken How will you be taken then? Will I be able to trust you? And if I'm not trusting you, if I'm not respecting you, where is the relationship? No matter what relationship we talk about. No matter which relationship you're in, trust and respect are two essential tools. How do I cultivate that trust and respect? By being honest to the person. The little we can do to any relationship, to be honest emotionally. How do you be emotionally honest? By being I-centric. I-centric does not mean being selfish. Please remember this. This is what many people have misconceived notions about. Oh, when you think about yourself, you are selfish. No. If you're not true to yourself, how will you be true to anybody else? If I am not in connection with myself, how will I connect with others? So I-centric means first I evaluate what's going on within me. Then I listen to the other person to understand what is going on within him or her. Then there is an evaluation that happens and a feedback is given. Then there is a need to, okay, let's come up with a win-win situation. Specifically in many relationships, where even in the office or at home, when you have to stay with some people. Breaking up relationships is not always what is there on the cards, right? So when you have to live with somebody, what do? You have to crack deals every minute. You have to accept a few things, or you have to give away a few things, create win-win situations around you. That is the core need to communicate. Okay, I hate it when you throw towel on the bed. But I'm not going to divorce you for that. Or am I? No, we are not going to divorce somebody just because that somebody is throwing towel on the bed. How much can you say every day? So what is a creative way of coming up with a win-win situation there? You have communicated it in every different way possible to the person. Every different way possible. Every emotion has been shown. Then what is the win-win there? I'll pick it up, or I'll ask me to pick it up, or whatever. Is that such a big deal? Just picking up a towel is such a big deal that we create stress early in the morning. And do I become small by doing it? I have so many, even as wives, don't husbands do a lot for us? Show me one husband who's not doing anything for the wife. No, everybody does. Husbands are doing so much for their wives which goes unnoticed. They work hard day in and day out for whom? For the family, right? Women are also working hard day in and day out for whom? For the family. Whose family it is? It is both husband and wife's family. It is your unit. So both of you are working. So whose work is harder and whose work is tough and whose is easy? Both people are required. Working mothers, working fathers, everybody in the family is important. The problem is we start seeing ourselves as more important than the other. Oh, I'm doing so much sacrifice. Don't now. Why are you sacrificing? Who's asked you to sacrifice? Tell the other person, I don't want to do it. Unless you're in a hardcore family where women are not supposed to talk. Even there, there is nothing, no circumstances. There is no circumstance on this earth where you know how to communicate, to understand, listen, to understand. Every human being, no matter how good, bad, ugly, is an emotional soul by the end of the day. Everybody is emotional by the end of the day. They might look at as the most rowdiest of the person, will have deep-rooted hurt emotions. Have you not seen rowdies being very good to other people? Have you not seen the worst kind of set of people being nice to soft to some people? Why? Because they feel understood there. Validation is happening. How much do we validate our relationships on a daily basis? We don't. We are so full of complaints all the time. So when we stop communicating to complain, and start communicating to understand, it will become easy for us to be truthful to the other person, emotionally honest to the other person, putting myself on the platter for you to understand. And no, there is no such thing as vulnerable. We have made ourselves vulnerable by hiding deep within ourselves. Why are we hiding within? What is your fear? What will happen if person knows you that, okay, this hurts you? They will use it against you. Use your assertive capabilities of stopping the person every time they do it. Just with your eyes. Nobody can cross any limits with me because they know they can't. I am emotionally honest. They know they will be taken up. Their case will be taken up big time. So there is a boundary I have created for myself. I have created it. And that is the same boundary you need to create for yourself. If anybody is hurting you and you're unable to talk, you are your responsibility. The other person has to know you have been hurt. नरगिस परवीन जी, हिंदी में मैं बोल सकती हूँ, पर बहुत से लोग, क्योंकि मैं बैंगलोर में हूँ, बहुत से लोगों को शायद हिंदी समझ नहीं आएगी, तो इसीलिए मैं इंग्लिश भाषा का प्रयोग कर रही हूँ. तो प्लीज़ मैं आपसे अलग से बात कर लूँगी बाद में, और ये बातें आपको अलग से समझा दूँगी. फ़िलहाल मुझे आप इंग्लिश में कंटिन्यू करने दीजिए. So getting back to this, you are your own responsibility. You cannot blame the world for hurting you. You cannot blame anybody for your emotions but you. So when my emotions, my means you, me, everybody as a soul, me, when my emotions are getting disturbed, when I feel that ruckus in me, what do? First, I sit with myself, understand why is that happening? What is the thought behind it? Is the perception even true? If it is true, if you have a very, very, very volatile partner, or if you have somebody who's really egoistic and who never actually listens no matter what tool you are using, if it is true, then how do I communicate to put this point across? If I'm unable to put this point across, what is the next step? What is the win-win situation I can come up with so that person also understands, I also get my peace of mind, and I move forward in life peacefully? Because nobody likes conflicts on a daily basis. Nobody likes conflicts. Every day if somebody is fighting, who likes it? Nobody likes it. So but why are we fighting? To safeguard our projections. There is a projection. There is a picture perfect image we have in our head. And every time somebody says and that picture gets affected, thoughts come in. Those thoughts create emotions, and those emotions then create actions, which are mostly attacks. We start attacking the other person with words. And when we attack somebody, defense is the only option. We are pushing them towards defensive communication there. And then what happens? Nothing happens. Again, that will stay, and then again, 10 days down the line, we'll have another fight. This topic will come back again and again and again and again, and it becomes a vicious circle. It becomes a vicious circle. I might as well tell, what am I going through? Please help me solve this. Every time you throw that thing there, I feel not heard. I think you don't respect me because every day I have to tell you things. And I know that is not the case. I know you respect me. So please don't let me fall into this rut of this thinking. Help me. Which man on this earth will not listen to you? Please tell me. Which human being will not listen to you? Man, woman, gender, we have created genders and that inequality and all of that. Everybody is a human by the end of the day. Women before never used to talk, so they were treated in a certain way. When women started talking, they went to the extreme other way. When using cuss words and all of that became a sign of empowerment. Again, there are problems. There is a balance when you treat the other person as a human and not as a gender. Two humans talking, irrespective of the gender, both humans are emotional beings by the end of the day. When communication is made to give a certain message, receive certain messages, evaluate, and feedback is given, then it becomes an easy communication. And it is not necessary that every time you talk, the other person has to understand you, or every time they are talking, you have to understand each other. Misunderstandings are also part and parcel of human life. So then what do you do when a huge misunderstanding happens? There was this one scenario where there was a huge misunderstanding between me and my friends. My innate need was to first run and start giving explanation to everybody. What do? We start running, start pushing people to understand. Please understand, you are my friend, you're supposed to understand me at this point. No, nobody is supposed to do anything. They have a certain misunderstanding. Wait for a while. Wait for the emotions to come down. Just wait for a while. 15 days, 20 days down the line, I just kept quiet. Few months down the line, 2 months down, 2 months were very difficult with those friends. 2 months down the line, everything automatically got sorted. The misunderstanding went out of the window, and I loved them more than I loved them before. They loved me more than they ever loved me. And everything just got sorted out on its own. It is like how you have a muddy water. Just pick up muddy water or mix anything in water. Keep it for some time, the mud settles down. The water will clean up. So let the emotions come down. In high emotions, when you try talking, nobody will listen to you. Nobody listens when you're high strung with emotions. That is the scientific approach to a right communication. Nobody will listen to you when you're very angry, when they are very angry, when they are full of fear, when you've become the biggest threat. They will stop listening. The brain does that. It is nobody's fault here. The brain does that to you. The brain starts protecting you. So let those emotions come down. Let the brain come into the phase of not reacting and protecting. That is when they'll start listening to you. So effective communication doesn't mean just communication right now. No. I can communicate the same point a month down the line, but the other person has the right to know the truth of what you went through. So everybody around me knows my truth, what I went through, but I wait for the right time to speak up. If my husband has just come back from work, or if I have just come back from work, I'm giving you my example. When I come back from work, or I've had a tough day, can be small little things, I've had a very tough day, and the minute I enter the house, I hear complaints. That's not the right time for me to listen to that, because I want to unwind, and that is my utmost priority. That doesn't mean I don't love my child. That doesn't mean that my child means nothing to me. My child is my universe. But at that point, I just want to unwind. I am my universe too. So if I tell you, okay, I'll listen to you later, please just give me some time, I'll get back, and I hear complain, oh, you don't have time for us, this family means nothing to you, blah, 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 blah. What happens to me? I will be like, to hell with you. Here I just wanted some time to myself. To hell with you. The communication that has gone is not of understanding, of complaining. So there's a right time to talk. And the right time you will know when you're trying to understand rather than trying to complain all the time. So if you are watching the person who's just come back home tired, you know your husband or your wife well, right? You know when the wife or the husband is in the right frame of mind. Nobody else will know. You will know it better. So when you know all of that, then why do you want to be heard right now? Why can't things wait for the right time? ये क्या जिद है? This is selfishness then. See, when you're in touch with yourself and in touch with the other person, when you're understanding yourself and the other person, you can never become selfish. But when you're only me in a different way, only me to understand, and only me, it is your job to change. I will not do anything. When I have said this, it is supposed to be done this time. Then that is selfish. It takes two to tango. Right? So if you're being selfish while playing the victim card, the other person has all the right to defend himself or herself. As simple as that. So communicate at the right time with the right intention. Intention to be heard, intention to listen, intention to understand, intention to solve. There is nothing on this earth, no conversation, no topic, no relationship that will need you to not talk or stop you from talking, stop you from communicating. So get up. I want you guys to do one thing today after this. Just sit down. Think about it. Every time you have just kept quiet. And ask yourself why. What was the threat? And then ask yourself what has been your style of communication that has irked the other person so much rather than understanding you now. Whether the person is like that with everybody or just with you. There's so many angles to this. Is the person generally like that? This person doesn't listen to anybody? Or is this person not just listening to you and listening to everybody else? If that is the case, then there is something definitely not right in the way you are communicating. Then sit down and understand, where did you go wrong? Where have you stopped your understanding? Where has the person become a threat, or where you have become a threat in the person's life? Evaluate everything. And next I will come up with conflict management. The next week session will be on conflict management, which will take this even further. How do we communicate during a conflict? What to do, the do's and don'ts during a conflict. And how do we make a happy life for ourselves? So happy communicating, communicate your emotions right. When you're angry, learn to say, I am angry because, not when you're angry and start using cuss words, you're this, you're that, and all those MCBCs and all of that. No, that doesn't resonate with anybody who's sane. So nobody's MC, nobody's BC, everybody's a normal human being trying to survive, help people in their survival. Don't become a threat in people's life. And when you communicate to send a message, take a message, understand, solve. That's about it. Thank you so much for being with me. I hope this will be taken in a way it should be taken. I hope that I can make your lives happier. With the ups and downs that life will always bring. There is nobody whose life is perfect. Nobody's life can ever be perfect. But if we start taking it in our stride to create beautiful lives around us, to create beautiful relationships around us, to accept people the way they are, to stop projecting that we are not, to project our real selves. For that, we need to be aware of our own selves. So all of that, we can be happy people in a happy world, doing happy things. So all the best. I'm going to meet you next week now with conflict management. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.